So it's 3:23 on this 16th, Saturday the 16th. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. So I have been sitting here looking at TikTok, looking to see like what's going on out there in the world. And I swear to God, when the algorithm changes, it's like they're trying to hide what's going on. And so I don't really know what the hell. I see tons of things where people are selling stuff. And there is this one case that a bunch of people are talking about. And it's, I don't know, all these things are sad. There's just so much sadness in this place, man. But this woman, she says that she has this little baby. He's 7 months old. He definitely looks like he's got some kind of syndrome or something. So he's probably got disabilities. And they have 5 kids. So this is the 5th one. And she, so she says she's at a game. I don't know, they're over at the field with their kids. And she has to go get a mouth guard for one of the kids. So she takes off and goes to Big 5 to get a mouth guard. And she says that she gets the baby out of the car seat and smells that he needs a diaper change. So she opens the back door, lays him down on the back seat, and she says somebody comes up and hits her in the back of the head. And when she wakes up, her baby's gone. And she can't find the baby anywhere. So she runs inside the Big 5 to ask them if they've seen anybody with the baby. And they say no. So I don't know if that's when she called the police or what. Man, I swear to God. It's got to be the sprain. It's insane. But the... And our sky is so fucking weird. But so she goes in, and when the police come or whatever, and she tells her story. Her little plea is just like, she seems so fake. It is the most, I mean, it's hard because I think most people, you don't want to just judge somebody, like, because everybody deals with trauma differently. But it is weird. Like, she's weird how she acts. It just seems too like she can't get out real tears or something. And then they ask the husband something, and he seems just as, they both seem odd as fuck. And then apparently there was no Amber Alert put out. So if the police aren't thinking that, the parents are involved, but it sure seems like it. And but the thing is if you're going to do that in a parking lot of a store, there's surveillance footage all over the place. Stores have parking lot footage. I'm not sure why. If they're just, watching for crimes to go on in their parking lots, or in case somebody comes and robs their store, they have footage. I'm not sure what the deal is, but most stores have footage in their parking lots. And a lot of crime, like any of those crime shows you watch, they're always like, on this camera it shows this, on this camera it shows this. And now people have doorbell cameras all over the place. Like, there's cameras everywhere. It would seem like to me, your safest place is a park, that you're not going to be surveilled. But if you're right across the street from houses and you figure somebody's got a camera on you, somebody sees your car, when it came and when it left and what it was doing there. And so I don't know, they didn't put out any Amber Alert or whatever. So it seems like, I bet you it's going to be something with the cameras. They're going to find something. And that there was no baby, that she had no baby with her or something. I don't know, or maybe, I don't know, because the people at the field would have seen the baby. I don't know. But I saw that with, it looks definitely like a a disabled baby, which, you know, I know for a lot of parents that is too much. They can't handle it. I mean, most, well, I'm not going to say most, lots of parents out there right now can't handle regular. They can't handle anything. They can't handle anything. Life is just beat them down too much or whatever the hell. But that is also, don't forget that everybody's playing a role, and that the role that they're playing is to make change in the world. So all these people who can't handle life, it's supposed to be that way, because that is what things have to change. All of us people who just could handle it and just keep going and we'll get it done, you know, I mean, was that really good? Because look how deep we got into being slaves. So through compliancy and through motivation and, you know, we're gonna make it, we're gonna do it and stuff, that we are taking advantage of. And so these people are like, that put on the brakes and it's like, can't handle shit. Well, then that creates a change. So it's not like, oh, because a lot of people are like, oh, these weak ass people and all that stuff. They say a bunch of shit. But really, I mean, that's what has to happen to create change. People have to not run and do all the things. But so, and there's so much in all these different things playing out with these different roles and weird things, like with kids and parents, and but it is a dynamic, and it's these soul groups. So it's more complex than what it appears to the naked eye in the three-dimensional game. But it is oh, this thing going across my screen right now, I thought it said gamerhood right when I was saying that, but it says 5 a.m.erhood. 5 a.m.erhood. I got about I don't know, I think it was 110 or something. And Stella's out here having a fit. So I get up and she wants to eat. It's like, oh my God. And then after she eats, she keeps going over there wanting more food, more food. And it's like, girl. So, but luckily today I've got nothing to do. It's supposed to rain all day. Well, and I don't know what's going to rain all day, but it's supposed to be raining. It's supposed to be starting in time. I thought I had heard thunder a few times. And it was kind of creepy. Because I don't know. It's like I'm not fully asleep or something. But I'm in these weird dreams. But so I was, I kept thinking, I hear a bell. And this happened the other day too, where I kept thinking, what is that sound? Like, I don't hear anything right now. But when I'm laying in the tent, it sounds like something with a bell, like around its neck, or a little ting, 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 ting. It's like, what the creep ass is that fucking tinging? And I get up and I don't hear it. And so I don't know. There's so much weird shit. It's just creepy. And getting up in the middle of the fucking night all the time is creepy too. Like, it's a creepy time. But anyways, so after I had seen this kidnapping or whatever the hell's going on, which probably is, maybe he didn't swallow right. Maybe they drowned it in by accident. Maybe, you know, it could be a lot of different things, because people who do something by accident, they always go into a place in their mind. I wonder if it is kind of like out of guilt, like they wanted it to happen, so then they feel guilty when it does happen or something. And then they don't want to call the cop. But fuck the government anyways. Fuck those fuckers. Fuck cops, I swear to God. I swear to God. All the shit I keep hearing about these motherfuckers. There's some rotten sons of bitches out there, man. But so, they don't want to call because they don't want to get charges. So they try and, you know, come up with a plausible explanation, or, you know, a default in the crime. So so some people just try and cover it up with a different story. Whereas you're going to probably get busted. You're better off just telling the truth. And I always said, you know, I'm not the one to call. If you got a body to hide, don't call me. Because I'm way more, I don't like the government. I don't like any of that bullshit. But I would rather face those consequences than all this other stuff. Which, that lady, you know, the lady I was talking about yesterday, the little blonde lady who's caught on the phone call in the jail. I swear to God, these people not. If you're going to be committing crimes, you may want to watch some crime shows. Like, you may want to just know like what the hell's going on out here. But so like I mean, that seems like basic 101. How do you think that you are on there talking on their jail phone and that they are not recording you? It's like, Jesus Christ. But see, in their program, they're meant to be caught, so they're going to be a little dirt. So, anyways, but I've seen more pictures of her. She is an attractive woman. She's the kind of woman, this little blonde chick. She's the kind of woman who would walk into a restaurant and she'd be having all these guys look over. Like, she'd have no problem getting an assortment of men if that's what she wants. But she wants this guy. And he's some big old guy. He's handsome. Now, I've seen his face up close. He's a handsome guy. Handsome guys are perps, too. And my dad was a handsome guy. He was a perp. And so he's this big old handsome man. And she is, like, totally okay with the fact that he's a pedo. It's like, that's cool with me. And I was thinking, you know, what in the, how does a woman become like this? Like, and to me, it's because she has not experienced some kind of a sexual assault or something as a child, because she has no empathy or compassion for the kids. Like, you have no empathy or compassion for the kid, but you're all in on the fetish guy. Yeah, do whatever you want. That's fun times. Like, who cares about who you're hurting? Fuck them. It's like, see why we're born life after life after life after life? Because we gain compassion. We go through horrific things because we gain compassion. We have empathy. And when you see somebody who has none, then it's like, well, I guess you've got some more lives to go. It's like, so, anyways, I still wanted to say about this lady who's, you know, whatever, her kid's missing. And they keep saying weird shit, too. Like, she was one of those people who's like, well, he was such a good boy, or he was such a happy baby. Was he? So, you already know he was. He's not an is. So, anyways, but after I was seeing that, I was, this is one thing that keeps popping up, is this guy doing all of these different lakes, in the weird stuff. And so there's a bunch in California, like Pyramid Lake. I don't remember all the names of these lakes. There's one, there's like a suspected submarine thing. Like, there's a waterway underneath there's waterways underneath all of the things. Like, everywhere you go, there's a whole thing with, there's a city under LA, another city under LA. And so there's a whole world underneath us, because everything is realms. And say, for instance, it's not so inhabited, and then or they just moved out who was inhabiting it, and they take it over, so it becomes like bases and stuff. It becomes a world below us that is full of, you know, science projects and corruption and shit. But so, in these lakes, and then there's old, like, you know, folklore and stuff around them with these tribes. There's different tribes, you know, and I can't remember what tribes these ones were, but there's a whole thing about the crying lady, and some of these petrified people are so freaking giant. They're so giant. Like, people used to be giant. Like, at different times, there were people that were huge. We would look like little tiny compared to them. Like, we would look like this compared to this. And so, there's like giant people, and they're petrified people. There's tons of videos about people looking at places where there's petrified people, and there were like mountains and stuff. So, and there's, you can see when you get a different view, then you can see it's a person laying down. It's there's all sorts of them. There's tons. I could share some videos of them, or you can just look them up. But there's tons and tons of these petrified past. I don't know what you would put in. They just pop up. So anyways, this one, I can't remember what the lake is called. I think I just said it though. But it has the petrified lady with the basket. It has a whole folklore story that goes with it and stuff. And I think he was still talking about that lake, because he was like, there's several different stories. One of them, that there's these these giant ogres or whatever, and the people would have to battle them. But there was one lake that he was talking about, that this tribe would go to this lake if they had a disabled child. If they had a child that was had issues, was disabled or whatever, they would throw them in the lake. They would just like, toss them in the lake, get rid of them. So they would just throw them in the lake so that they would drown, and or be taken by other spirits or whatever they think. Some of these had like where they thought there was dragons and creatures and mermaid, all sorts of stuff in these lakes. And anyways, but then I had seen that after the other one, and so, you know, I mean, it's kind of been a thing for humans that they didn't want to deal with a disabled child, and so just toss it in the lake. And so anyways, I'd seen that after I'd seen this lady, and because her child totally looks like it has some kind of syndrome or something. So I'm sure he's got issues, and maybe at this point in 7 months they're starting to have to deal with them. Maybe he's not doing any of the regular stuff that a 7-month-old would do, and now they're like, oh, something's wrong with him. You know, he's not going to have any kind of life. We can't, who's going to take care of him? How are we going to pay for it? Like, all the stuff that people think of. Better off just throw him back and, you know, let him go back to heaven. And which everything is a story, and every disabled body comes in for whatever the experience is. And there's all sorts of experiences, because you can have experiences where you're rejected, but you're still going to learn. You can have experiences where you're accepted, you're going to learn. You have experiences where you show the world you can conquer your disabilities. That's an experience. Like, everything is an experience, and it's programmed into you, but it's kind of like, you know, I don't know, because at times it can seem like you're choosing, you know, to champion yourself, or, you know, to, you know, recover from what it is, to you know, excel or whatever, to propel yourself. But, you know, I mean, however things play out, there's always lessons involved in everything. So, and that to me is why your soul is going through any experience, is because you have lessons and you learn from them and you grow from them. It's like that lady, they have no compassion, no empathy for kids, and for her to be like, because she's on their tapes, so I can't imagine that they wouldn't make charges of that she has destroyed evidence, because that's a crime, and she erased all his history on his computer. She erased text. She erased emails. She did all sorts of stuff. She's sitting right there on the thing telling him, and the way that they laugh and chuckle back and forth, it's so creepy. It's so like antisocial. Like antisocial is like a disorder where you have no compassion, no lack of compassion for other human beings. You just don't really care. And that's why they say like psychopaths are antisocial and stuff like that, because they don't feel anything when they go and destroy people's lives or kill them or whatever. So that antisocial is a disorder of lack of compassion. Well, these people, well, you know, narcissistic or whatever. There's people out there like narcissists or demons and stuff like that. But there, all these things are possibilities of learning. But it's like some people don't want to learn. They're resistant to learning. They're more into feeding into their cravings, feeding their impulses, and those lessons too. Just it's going to be different kind of lessons because you may not see until you leave and you go to your life review, and then you're kind of stuck. You've made your mark. You've taken a stand, and then you're kind of like, to me, it is like a trap. It is like, well, then you're going to have to go in and clean up your stuff. You're going to have to go in until you learn. And now you've got this, you're carrying this baggage, this karmic baggage that you've created. And because she would be entangled now, so she's erased this history and stuff. And she says in the fucking thing, like, oh, I don't care. You could, for 75 years, you can continue carrying on doing your pervy stuff. I don't care. It's like she just wants to be with them. It's like, I swear to God, some of these women are so desperate that they'll set their standards so low. Like, how in the world can this guy be that fucking important? Well, I'll tell you how. Because it's a soul connection. And so this connection you can't break free from. But it's there to learn from, not to just feed into. And so she is... you know, this to me is like a prime case of keeping yourself in this entanglement. But the universe is still, I would say, going to step in and, you know, try and force change. You know, she'll probably get charges. Maybe she'll go to jail. And then her cellmate will be a girl who had horrible experience growing up with pervs. And it turned her into, you know, when she started out as a prostitute, being trapped, and then she became a druggie, then she hangs out with all these bad people, and she got involved with, there's so many women in prison who you know, had boyfriends or friends or whatever that were involved with drugs or some kind of crime, and then the woman becomes compliant in the other person's crimes, and the woman goes to jail. So she could end up having a cellmate that would enlighten her, and that would be her opportunity to see the error of her ways, and that she was the one who was enabling or codependent with this guy, and she has to sever or break these ties, this entanglement that she has with this person. And it could be, you know, that in another life that she was the weirdo pedo, or somebody who just, you know, hurt people for their own, you know, that, I mean, because it can be so many things. I mean, she could have been somebody who, you know, like, I keep having these ones come into my mind. One that came into my mind is like this old lady who, now I can't see it that good. Well, one that was coming into my mind was this woman who, she didn't have, like, it was like the cowboy days or whatever, settlers. And so she's out on a farm on her own, and her husband dies. And so she can't really make it. And something happens where she starts writing to somebody, or somebody starts writing to her or something. And so then she sees, oh, this guy wants to marry me. And so she starts seeing like how much money they have and stuff. So anyway, she becomes a serial killer over putting in ads or writing letters to guys or somehow. And then she has the guys come, bring all their money, and then she does them in. And then she takes all their money, and then they just disappear. And there was one, I think the last one, where the family came looking for him. And I think she takes off. And I think I saw it in a movie, but I know it's a true story of this lady. Oh my gosh, Stella. What are you doing? You just lay down. She's gonna go back and forth under my car, under my thing. Oh no, she's over there. Okay. But okay, so say she's a woman like that who she just, you know, killed the guys, and then I think in the story that the lady, she also had somebody was some guy there. I think he liked her and he wanted to help her. And he's a ranch hand or something, but she wanted to get money, and this guy didn't have any. And so he started helping her get rid of the bodies or something. So see how that couple then come back, and then they switch roles, they switch parts, like how far will you go? And so these things play out over and over and over in this realm, in this world. And so then it would come back, you know, well, she's going to protect him. And it's just these weird entanglements of how things play out. So that's why I'm saying, when you hear some of the ones where it just is like horrible, but like I've said, you know, people get in these things and they kill each other back and forth, and then it looks like, oh my God, what a horrible person that they did this to this person. But you go back further in their life journeys, and then you see, well, they did it to them and they did it to them. It just goes back and forth, back and forth. These people just go and play these roles back and forth. And then just switch up the characters and switch up the time. But there's lessons that are linked to the whole thing. And the universe, you know, because this isn't real, the universe doesn't look at it as like you're failing, you should have done it faster, you keep hurting people or anything, because you can't hurt people that don't sign up to be hurt. And so, but when you sign up to be hurt, you are also learning too, because you learn compassion, you learn empathy. And then the people who are committing things, a lot of times they're not learning it. Like, they have to go in and switch the role. They have to go in and play the other side in order to get the full message of what you get from all the different experiences. Because everything that plays out, each person that plays a role in each experience gets a different take on the situation. It's a different perspective, and it's a different lessons from every single one. So that's why another thing is, like, you don't get the whole thing from coming and playing one part in it. Coming and playing the abuser, you have to be also somebody who's been abused to get the whole look at from every, and there's more perspectives, because it can be, you know, the person who didn't protect the person who fed into the things. There's just like all these different things that you can learn from all the different parts that play out. So when you think, like, you know, how horrible, why would somebody be this? Why would somebody sign up for that? Because and when you are in one thing, you have to, like, complete it. You can't just go in and do one thing and play one part and be like, oh, don't like that, and I'm out. No, you have to, and your soul doesn't look at it that way. Like, we could sit there and be judgmental and look at it like that, but your soul doesn't look at that, because this isn't real. This isn't real. So, just the same thing as, like, if somebody goes in and plays a part in a movie, and you think, oh my God, why would they play that part? Because it's not real. I mean, they want to challenge themselves. They want to see, like, you know, how would I play this? What would I do? How would I be? And so it's the same thing. That's what we come in as souls to experience ourselves, to see what would we do. But once you go into like a template, say, of experience, you have to get it from all different perspectives in order to get the whole lesson. So you can't just go in and get, like, one day of class and then think that you got the whole lesson. You've seen it. No, because it changes how you look at things from every different role that you play. Every perspective you get changes how you see things. in order to open yourself more and see more of it, then you have to play all these different roles. You have to play the one that's been hurt. You have to play the one who hurts. You have to, because the people who hurt somebody, then you see like what drives somebody to do that. You know, how did I get myself there? How did I end up being somebody that would do something to hurt somebody? And so you see it from all different perspectives. And but that is how you gain empathy and you gain compassion. And so anyways, but that lady doesn't show signs that she has any compassion or empathy. But like I said, we don't know where her story ends. And even if you end in this realm, then you go into the it's like the phase of the playback. Like, look at it again. What do you think this time? Well, when you look at it from other people's perspective, what do you think from that? And so you learn still from the playback. So that's the life review. So that's when you go in and you reevaluate the experience, because you see it through other people's perspective, which to me would be harsh. Like, you're going to go in and you are involved in hurting people, and then you got to go in and see what it feels to, from their perspective. Like, think about some of this stuff that we've heard of what these people have done to people. But see, that's why I'm like, I don't know that Hillary goes to a library. I don't know that some of these people go out of this realm. If they're just stuck in this realm, they're not in the same kind of evolution as the other souls. Like, there's different soul journeys or something. There's different states of consciousness, and that some of these souls are just kind of bound to the dark. And so they play out a lot of dark roles, but I don't know that some of them go in through the same evolution. And I can't even imagine if you've gone in and caused all of this pain and suffering and torture and all of that, and then you got to go in and experience it. What? How would that? Oh my God. I don't even know. It just seems so crazy. It's hard for me to imagine that they would be able to go through it. You know, like, to me, it would be like that they would just fall back into the dark over and over and over, because it would be such a hard thing to face when you cause so much pain and trauma to people. And so, I don't know. That's why I think, some of these beings, they aren't here for the same kind of evolution. They're here to control. They're here to just dominate and control. Whereas we, the people who are more like me, we are conscious energy that is in a state of evolution, that we would be considered the creators of the universe, because we are the experiencers, and that is the creation of the expansion. And so we go through experiences. We create personas. We create world. Like, we're about to create a whole world, and a whole reality is about to be created from all of these souls that are going to come into their divinity, who are going to purge out their old pain and baggage, bring themselves forward, and unite with themselves and elevate themselves back to their essence of their own divinity as a creator. And then we are going to create a whole new world. And but the people who can't acknowledge themselves as the divine, as a creator, as a God type figure, is because they, in this realm, they want you just to worship gods. Where that's what I was talking about yesterday. It just weirds me out how these people who think they're so spiritually evolved and they just worship other beings. It's like, you got to elevate yourself up to the position of being able to be worshipped yourself. So you got to you got to elevate yourself. But religion keeps people trapped. Every time they try and stand up, it's like, knock them in the knees or something, and keep bringing them down. And they like succumb to, taking a knee to some other power over them. Confirmation. Because they won't stand up and see their own, their own purity, their own divinity, their own essence of the divine. They can't acknowledge that side of themselves. So that's why, they got to go through more lives to start seeing their own divinity. But that's also just like a part of the game. So, and it could take them a lot more lives to be able to get to there. I mean, it goes like in these cycles. And so it's not like, you can fail. It's like, when however long it takes is however long it takes. It's not like that you have a, like a soul is birthed and then it's like, well, you got this much time, you better hurry up. I mean, we got nothing but time. And the soul is way more interested in the truth of the development and the evolution of self. It's not a quick fix kind of thing. It's not I'm going to take a shortcut. The soul is not about that. That's something that's created in this world. A shortcut. I want it now. I want it quick. And it's, it's not about that. And so, and you can't do things wrong. And there is no wrong or right. There is no good or bad. Everything is just what it is, and it's just experience, and it's all experience. It's just the same thing as, like I've said, it's like in your mind, and you can create a what if. You think of stories, you think of this, you think of that, and that doesn't mean that you are bad, that because you think of these things. It's the same thing as like the higher mind just thinking of these things, and thinking of them is like we're the thoughts. We are to me it's like we're the synapse, we're the thought being processed. And so it's not like that you are bad because it was a thought. So it's just a what if this happened, what if that happened, and then we're the players of the what ifs. And so we go and play out all these different things to see, and then for us it is a gain because we grow from the experience. And so anyways, I know, that's a big thing in this world. Man, something I swear to God, it's like these real fine dog hairs or something. And it's like they go up in my nose or something, and they just blow around or something and tickle my nose. Which yesterday I did dog washing. Man. And this one dog was like an Australian Shepherd or something. This long, fine hair. Oh my God, I was pulling hair out of my mouth. My nose keeps tickling. So, and then I have my own dogs. And then every time I go upstairs, there's cats everywhere, which is kind of is funny. Just the way the cats, I don't know. I can see the intrigue of somebody wanting to have a bunch of cats because they're just trippy. And they're kind of fun, but I wouldn't want to be, having to take care of a bunch of cats. Or, I mean, I'm at my limit. I feel like with the 3 dogs, I feel like that pulls a lot of your time, especially when you got one that's older and needy, and she's got all the, one thing after another, and then especially like if you love them. I know there's a lot of people who their dog gets to that point of being a senior, and they're like, fuck this, I don't have time for you, and they just go dump them off in shelters, and shelters just whack them. They don't give a shit. The amount of animals being whacked, which the one with the Dallas thing where those guys got those pit bulls, and then they took them, and then they said, well, they're going to use them for hunting dogs, which I think they were going to use them as fighting dogs. I think a lot of people kind of felt like that they're getting them for fighting dogs, but they gave them back. So those dogs were given back, and then they were going into foster. That was in Dallas. And I'm sure it's everywhere. I'm sure it's everywhere because there's so many people who are just cruel. Their animal cruelty in this world, in this populace, is extreme. Then that's where you gotta also realize, like, that all these different animal souls are here to teach these humans compassion and empathy. And you can't just look at a dog or another animal and think that they're mindless and think that you can just do whatever. They don't have a soul, they don't have a mind, they don't have feelings, they don't have emotions. That's not true. They have all the things. Yesterday when we went out to go walk, this deer and its baby came down next to us, and then it was like following us. Then it started pouring rain, and it crossed the street and went running, I guess, towards its nest with this little baby and stuff. And so we turned and went back home. But it was so cool. They was just like hanging out, and the dogs were barking and barking, and they just kept standing there and standing there. And the mom wasn't being scared, so the baby wasn't being scared. It just like kept watching us and watching us. And then when we started, and I'm pulling the dogs, come on, leave them alone. They're trying to eat. And then they were following along behind us. It was, I don't know, it was really cool. And then I went to go drive out, and my whole drive to go out to the dog grooming thing is through the mountains and the forest. And so I drove all through there and get out there, and a bunch of deers went across in front of me, and the last one was a little baby. It was so cute. One of the days I saw a dead baby. That was so sad. But I told the groomer, I said, oh, I've seen so many deers this morning. And she said, oh, there was a whole herd of elk out in front of her place. And then when she left to go do something, she saw a mama moose and a baby moose. I was like, oh, how cute. I don't know if there's a lot of nature coming down close right now, or if they're starting to be more interactive with us, which also, man, the sky. Oh my God, the sky is so fucking wacky looking. It is so, when you go out and there is weird things, like we had yesterday morning when I got up, it was so fucking eerie. And the color was so eerie. It was so dark and overcast. And so we go out to go walk, and it was like the day the earth stood still. There was such a silence in the world. Like it was, God, it was weird. It was so weird. It was so eerie. And so I was so glad to see the deer when they came up behind us. But it also seemed like this fake world, which the world is fake. And we are splitting out in reality, and we are going into these weird experiences and stuff. But it was so weird. And then, so then I left and went, oh, then it started pouring rain. And then I left and went, and I was seeing weird stuff in the sky where it was like these, like it was the sky like opening at a certain part. But then it looked like another world in this part. And then it just looked like these different worlds kind of like trying to open up to each other. And I saw a guy the other day doing a video. I don't know where he was. Oh, South Carolina, I think. And he was showing this weird sky thing. And he said, it looks like there's mountains over there, but there's no mountains over there. But it looks like this mountain range is trying to come into, like, he was talking about how weird it looked. And I've seen that so many times in the sky, and people have been seeing like other cities in the sky, all sorts of stuff, which to me, it's these realms, it's these realities and realms, and the vibration, we're changing into emerging vibrations with these other ones. And that's how it's going to like open up this galactic world to us, because these other realms and realities are like coming into our view, into our, like it's so weird, because everybody thinks like it's this moving or something, but it's vibrational. So it's this change in vibration that brings more things into view, into seeing. And it was the low vibration is what kept us in the trap that we were at. But then when we start evolving, and caring and compassion has such a huge thing. Because this is something I thought about all the time when I was a kid. And I kept thinking, it's the reason we don't get to see aliens and stuff is because we would kill them, because we're crazy. Humans are crazy. And they're violent, and they're scared, and all that. I would think about that stuff when I was little. And I would think how, the human disposition was keeping them trapped in this world of lack, kind of, in this, they weren't getting to go out and really experience what the world really is, because they were the problem, because, they couldn't have their magic because they would misuse it. They were scared of everything. Everything was monsters and stuff, like God and the whole thing. And so, but as we evolve and then we grow in our compassion and our understanding, then it opens more doors. It opens up more for us. So then we can start to see these other vibrations that were always there, but we couldn't see them. So the stuff is always there. We just couldn't see it. But now we are changing vibrations to match the tone. And so now we are starting to see it. And it seems like the government, or whoever, the controllers of this realm, that they don't want us to see, because they still want to feed off of our energy. So they keep trying to cover the sky and make it so we can't see what's out there as it's changing. And so but there's these breakthroughs. And so then after I drove and I saw this one splitting, and I was like, man, that does look like this other world over here in it. It's like these worlds showing up or something. And then when I was, oh yeah, I came back, and I don't remember on the way back, but then I went up to the storage thing to work on hanging up my clothes and stuff. And then on the way back, there was another thing where it looked like I was splitting open, and it looked like another world behind the world. It looks like 3 different skies, 3 different worlds. And so I saw it a few times yesterday out in the sky, and it was so overcast and so dark and stuff, and so it was so clear when something would split and this light would come in, and then the light would show, like, it does look like there's a mountain range there. It does look like that there's other things there and stuff. So I don't know. I think there's going to be more mountain ranges that are going to be opening up. There's going to be the whole new world is upon us, but it's not fully here, because we still have so much deceiving us, that we have so much ignorance, but it's kind of like the people are opening up their desires, and they are opening up, kind of being more open to seeing, open to change, open. But that to me is the awakening. That's the hand of God. That is where things will start to happen kind of naturally in people's lives, to make them more open to possibilities and seeing things more clearly. But that is where things start coming into clarity, when you open your mind to see more clearly. And but it has to do with compassion and empathy and stuff for other beings and other lives and other worlds, and not being so scared of everything. But so these people who still are playing out these entanglements, these roles of corruption and stuff, see, that's where they won't be able to go on. It's like it still seems like there's opportunity of growth. It's like I said, like if this lady gets arrested and then she goes to jail, then I would think, like, I mean, your transits are going to happen the way they're supposed to happen. And I don't know what her life journey is. I don't know what she's here to learn or experience. I just know that, she's all in, like, yeah, go ahead, do what you want. I'll cover up your crimes for you. I just want to be with you. But you can go out and, like, how gross is that? Like, oh my God. Who wants to be with somebody who their real desire is for kids? They don't have a desire for you. You're just the person who's enabling them, who's covering up their crimes for them. Maybe they'll toss you a bone here or there. And that also is a big thing in some of these countries in the Middle East, where they only desire little boys. the dancing boys of Afghanistan or something like that. So they desire is little boys. That's their sexual desire, not women. They only use women for procreation. And that's how things have to change. Is the women have to set the standard and say, no, I'm not going to be your little baby embryo thing. I'm not going to service you so that you can continue pumping out boys over here so you can, use them. It's like it's like what I was saying yesterday with these women who are like, this is what the men are in 2025. It's like, I look at it as this is what the women will allow. This is how low women have set their standards at this point. The desperation. Like, the guys got nothing to offer because they know they can just bounce from one girl to the next and use them, and, that there's nobody that makes them. Even if a guy is just like totally whoring around, and then the girl who says, well, he chose me, that's who he chose, so she elevates herself, but instead of saying like, no, I don't want you, you don't give a crap about any of these women. So that's where it's got to start being like, no, go on with your bad self, go redeem yourself, go repent or something. You're out there just whoring around, treating all these women like garbage, and then I'm supposed to feel so lucky that you are going to marry me or something? It's like, that's where, the standard has to change. I was watching this movie yesterday, and it was a true story. And it was this woman who married this guy. So they met when they were young, and they got married, and they were happily married. They had 2 kids. They were, just a cute couple. They loved each other. And they had been married, I think by the time it was over 18 years, but at 14 years, he got a promotion. So he was being promoted to vice president of this insurance company or something. And his secretary. So his secretary was this really mousy woman who, she also had 2 kids, and she was married to a really controlling guy who was over the top religious and controlling, and this is what it has to be and stuff like that. So the boss, her boss, felt bad for her, and he invited them over for Christmas because her kids didn't get Christmas presents and stuff because her husband thought that that wasn't right. So he invites them over for Christmas, for this big Christmas party at his house, because him and his wife were just that kind of people. Always inviting people over, party. They were just like this nice couple. And so the lady who comes over to their house, and she can't stand her husband. She's sick of him. But they give the kids gifts and stuff. So she just starts looking at this man like he's, the greatest. Her boss is the greatest thing she's ever seen. It's like at this party, you could just see in her face that that's when she decided she's stealing this lady's husband. That's it. She wants what she's got, and she's going to take it. And so so he gets a promotion, and then it says, let's go buy a new house. And goes buy this cool ass house. And then, so they move into it. Well, now he's got to just work all the time. And this is what he's telling his wife. And she's just thinking, well, this comes with the promotion, I guess. And they were real involved with their kids, doing stuff with their kids. Their kids were in plays, played sports, all sorts of stuff. Well, and he couldn't make it to everything, but she didn't know what was going on at the office. All the people at the office knew, but nobody wanted to tell her because they were worried they would lose their jobs. But so his secretary, she decides she's leaving her husband, and she goes and gets a makeover. So she is no longer mousy, and the religious guy's wife. Now she is like a sex kitten or something. So she's cut her hair, she colored it, her skirts have become really short, her shirts have become really low cut, and she now is a single woman. And so she just starts coming on so strong to this guy. Oh my God. It was disgusting, really. Because she was like a predator on this guy. And so he, he tries to be like, well, I'm married, but she just persists. She's not letting. She decided this was the guy for her, and she was going for it. So she continues, pursuing him, and starts like manipulating him, and saying stuff, to like, well, my husband doesn't understand anything I do at work. And he's like, yeah, my wife never understands any of this stuff. She's always like, what do you do? And she goes, but see, I understand you. I'm here with you. And so she starts fucking with his head. And then she just keeps coming on to him sexually. And then she starts going and traveling with them. And so they start this whole affair. This affair goes for 3 or 4 years or something. Everybody knows it, except for the wife. The wife thing. He even gets in an apartment and lives with the lady at the apartment. So he's living this double life, telling his wife he's got to go out, he's got to travel and stuff, and he's just living with this girl, this woman who is stealing, and then she'll have her kids over there. Like, it is such fuckery, man. I swear to God, this lady was just pissing me the fuck off. And so it's like she doesn't give a shit about this other lady. Not one fucking shit. And she's so selfish. And it sets her sights on this guy. And so she gets him. And then, and she pushes and pushes and pushes. She manipulates this guy so much to finally where he'll leave his wife. And so he leaves his wife. And the wife has no idea. It's so unexpected. He comes home. And she's like, oh, you want a tuna sandwich? I was just making a tuna sandwich. And he goes, no, I'm leaving you. And she's like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, no, I can't do this anymore. I don't love you or something. Like, I don't even think he said anything. He just said, I'm leaving you. I'm going to see a divorce lawyer. And the woman is devastated. Like, what the fuck? So she starts asking, she starts, telling people at some point, like, I just don't get it. I don't get what the hell happened. And then, well, there's all these people who knew, like neighbors. He would send her off on a trip, and neighbors would see he'd have this lady over there. It wasn't that big a town. And so everybody knew, except for this poor lady, Dorothy. She had no idea her husband is sleeping with whatever her name was, this lady. And so she doesn't know, but everybody else knows. The one neighbor tells her, why don't you hire a detective? Then you'll know what's going on. Because he's probably seeing somebody. And she's like, no way. He would never do that. And so then she finds out. So at some point, she decides to sue the lady. And that's what this whole movie is about, this court case and this lawsuit. Because she sues her for, I can't remember what it was, but, like, you came in and destroyed my life kind of lawsuit. So it was some kind of civil lawsuit, I guess. So she sues her and has this court case. It has the whole town watching, and it has these backflashes or flashbacks of different things that had happened. And then the lawyers, doing their lawyer stuff and from these different perspectives, and this persona that the lady put on in court that was so different than the one she put on at the office, and all the different people who knew about it but didn't want to tell the one lady. And then the guy, so he loses his job. So he has this great job, but then he loses it. She also gets kicked out of her job. So she loses her job, he loses his job. And Dorothy Dot, she has got the house and the kids, and he has to keep paying the stuff, giving her, she was a housewife the whole time. And so then the jury decides that, yeah, this lady is complicit into destroying this lady's life, and awards her $1 million. And this was like in the, I don't think it was the 70s, I think it was the 90s. But it was like, what? Everybody's like, oh my God, $1 million, which they didn't have $1 million. And she, the one lady, because now they're getting, the husband and the new lady are getting married and stuff. And she tries to appeal it and loses the appeal or whatever. I don't know if she ever ended up having to pay this woman money because she didn't really have money, but it said at the end that they ended up, they got married, then they moved down from Dorothy and they shared custody. So they lived on the same street, shared custody, and Dorothy just went on with her life. That guy, he ended up getting another job at a different insurance company, and Jane or June or whatever the hell her name was, she went back to school. Maybe her name was Lori or something, I don't know. She was so irritating because she was so, didn't give a shit. Just go in and just purposely steal this lady's husband. And anyways, I just found that was interesting, that whole story. It was very, it was just so, I don't know. It was creepy in one sense because that lady was such a opportunistic, manipulative person. The husband, he was kind of a weak ass. The one lady, she's the one who, she stood on business. She was like the only one who had morals and stuff and integrity. And anyways, it was a good story. I don't remember. I think it was called something like broken ties, broken hearts or something. I don't remember. But anyways, I don't remember why I started talking about it. But I think, because I'm thinking about this couple, this lady who's going to be the enabler for this pervy guy. And these women out there who just have no standards. They just don't care. It's like, what are you feeding? Well, I know on the spiritual sense, they're feeding a role, that they come in to play this role, because you can come in like a fucking dump truck, dumping on everybody, because there's going to be things that you're going to see about yourself. So you're going to experience you, but that's the thing, is a lot of people don't seem to understand what it is that you're here to experience you, so they don't get, they think that they can just hurt people. But that's what I was saying, is like these people who are out there hurting people, that they're not going to stay in the same vibration. They can't, you can't be that kind of person and be in a higher vibration. Like these, like what I've said, like these people who sit here, my stomach's growling, I'm so hungry. That you can't go and hurt people and be in a high vibration. You can't just jump from a low vibration into a high vibration, even though that is a big thing, is what they're constantly out there saying. Just think it into being, put yourself there, think that you are there and you'll be there and stuff. I think that they probably have a lot of people feeling like, God, I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. Yeah, because you're being misled. Because that's not what we're here to do. You're not here to just abandon your bad self. It's impossible. You can't. And it's the universal laws. What you put out comes back to you. You can't just, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to tear shit up, I'm going to ruin these people's lives, and then I'm going to jump timelines and go into a better life for myself because I don't want to be there, I want to be over here. It's like, well, you already created that. You can't just jump out and go someplace else. You can't leave your disaster and jump into your finest timeline. It's like you have to clean up your mess. You have to change. You have to change directions. You have in the baggage that you carry all the things that created the person you were. You have to let go of them. You have to work through them. You have to maneuver. And so you have to heal it. And that's where the healing thing comes in, because there's a reason why you are this dumb truck, why you are the way you are, why you are going in and wreaking havoc. Some of it, it just is the role that you play, but it also is like this long part of you, like this life after life after life. And so you are, it's not just this one period of time, it's like this trail of you, and you have to clean it up in order to create something new. But it's so weird because it's not like you can do anything wrong, but you still can't leave that and go to this without cleaning it up. And so these people who, I know the universe is going to give people lots of opportunity of changing. It's like they're setting the table for everybody to have opportunity to change. So things, people will come into your transits, people will come into your life that will promote change. But a lot of people are like, oh, you triggered me, I hate you, and get out of here. So they don't use it for their better opportunity of growth. They just push people away that make them feel certain things, and then they think that they can just jump out of the timeline anyways and jump into a new one, and they focus their energy on just visualizing themselves in their new timeline instead of doing the work on themselves and redeeming themselves and healing themselves and trying to understand like the different things that have gone on throughout their time of existence. And so even though that the universe is given all this offering of opportunity to change, so many people are resistant to it because they just are clueless about what the hell's going on here, and they don't know how to connect into themselves, and they just stay playing the game and thinking that they're conquering things, and it's like you're conquering yourself. And so but the people who are this low vibration, hurting other people, lack of empathy, lack of compassion, don't give a shit, a lot of things are going to hold people back. Is this sense of hierarchy, this sense of like, I'm better than other people, they have no value, they have no worth. That is a lack of compassion, a lack of empathy. And so those things are not high vibration. And the higher vibration that we're going to is about having empathy, having compassion, being more loving, being more focused on what you're creating and taking steps towards your creation and stuff. Not this just, like you can just jump out of one bad thing and go into the perfect thing. It's like that to me, it just is so weird. And I cannot believe how that is pushed as a teaching in spirituality. Like, I mean, I don't think that you would go and find, you go talk to some monks or something, to people who have been practicing spirituality for their whole lives, and that they're going to say, oh yeah, you just jump out at one time. I mean, that's what we're doing here. We're just meditating. We're just jumping out at one time, like going into the next one. It's like, no, you're trying to find peace of heart, peace of mind, peace of your soul. You're trying to find peace. You're trying to find tranquility. You're trying to find, this version of yourself that can be peaceful and happy no matter what the situation is, that you aren't provoked and promoted into being a disruptor, being somebody who doesn't care, doesn't have compassion, doesn't have empathy. So is this concept, like I know this quantum situation, that's a part of our new world and stuff, but I swear to God, you have to walk the path to get there. Because like I've said, it's more of like how it is in the heavens, where you just jump around, you just go where you want to go. That is more of like your soul in the heavens, in the higher vibration. But in this, you can't. And all these people who think that they can, it's going to hold them back. Unless you are doing the work, it's going to hold them back. And so, because their vibration won't match that vibration, you can't just, how do you just change your vibration without changing your vibration? You just think it into being, and so you just put yourself there. And so these people are going to be all holding themselves back into lower vibration realities to go and learn more and whatever, is to continue their evolution, to continue their learning and growing. But there's going to be, a splitting off from the lower vibration. The higher vibration and the lower vibration are going to separate. And the lower vibration, like I've said, they're not doing anything wrong. I mean, you have eternity to go and learn things. And everything that, can seem like long and slow and tedious to us in the experience, but the experience is a blink of the eye. And so it's not long and tedious. And it's funny because it seems that when people come out of it, then they're like, oh my God, that was so quick. I went so fast. But when you're in it, and I don't know if it's the way that they create the cycles of time or something, it will seem like, oh my God, it can seem like it's just dragging. How can this go on and on? Just like right now, we're in this period of time where it's like, oh my God, how long can this go on? But once we get past it, it's going to be like, oh my gosh, it's already over. It's just like, boom, it was over. But when you're in it, it's like, oh my God, it feels like it's dragging. But then all of a sudden it's going to be boom, and it's going to separate, and it's going to be like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have spent more time with these people, like people who you think like, are low vibration, or you're stupid or whatever. Then, and if they separate and go off, then I think a lot of people are going to be like, well, I wish I would have spent more time with them, because that time period is over. That experience is over. We'll never play that same exact thing out again. We will never be those characters again. We won't all have the same kind of alignment that was there at this point in time. And so that's why I think it is important to value the here and now, like whatever we're at right here and right now, and to really resolve yourself into understanding as every soul evolves in its own time. It's like, don't get caught up in thinking that people are lower than you or stupider than you, and don't get all caught up in this ego thing of like this chosen, like these people who think that they are here to save the world. It's like, you can't save anybody else. You can only save yourself, and that seems to be a huge distraction, that they don't need to work on themselves. They're too busy saving the world, so they don't need to work on themselves. It's like, well, that's going to end up holding you back, because you can't go forward unless you raise your vibration. You raise your vibration through the experience of healing and forgiving, and seeing people for like who they are instead of an expectation, and not looking at people through the lens of good and bad, but just, it is what it is. And all souls are here playing roles and here to experience what it is to be. And so I don't know, I just know that these ones that are lower vibration, that don't care, like those people won't go forward. They won't be at the age of Aquarius. They're not going to be at the age of love, so that they can run around taking kids and stuff. No, that part is gone. All these people who think that they can hurt kids or hurt anybody, hurt old people, hurt kids, hurt anybody who thinks that they can do something and hurt somebody else and not have any care if you've hurt them, not even to think that, because animals too. That's why it's such a big thing when people start awakening, to start being so much more caring and compassionate to animals and nature, and so interested in that stuff, because that is a part of you that's igniting, and that is a part of you that is evolving. And the people who don't have that, these people that continue hurting other people, hurting animals and stuff, they won't be going forward. That's all I know. I mean, I'm not saying every single one of them. There's no way that they won't, because we still are in the game. We're still in the play. So they could, just like I said with that woman, like she could get charges on this, end up in a cell, have a cellmate that enlightens her somehow. So everybody has an opportunity every day to be enlightened, to see things different, to do things different, to be different. But, not everybody will. And I don't know even if everybody really had a deeper understanding of spirituality, because they're not all here to play those roles. Not every single person is here for the age of Aquarius, for this age of love, and the golden age, this new time thing. One thing too is it's not just about spirituality. It's not like the most evolved spiritual people, because so many of them put on these fake ass phony personas. Oh well, I'm a spiritual person, and I am, like the more spiritual you pretend to be, that makes you more superior or something. It's like, it's to me, yeah, people are going to be more spiritual, they're going to be more mindful, but they're also going to be a lot more in the here and now. That to me is what we're going more into, of this learning how to enjoy being alive, learning how to enjoy the experiences that being alive have to offer, because being alive is the gift. It's the gift of the universe, is to feel and experience what life is, what it is to be alive. And there's so many people who don't, adhere to it. They don't give it any mind. They sit and whine and cry, and the world sucks, and everybody sucks, and they're the victim, and nothing works out for them, and stuff like that. And they don't see the gift that they have. But that, to me, is a big part of the evolution of where we're going. So the age of Aquarius is going to be about love and empathy and compassion, because that's what we are gaining through all of the stuff that's happening. Watching these horrible things happen to people is making us feel like, oh, that's not good, that's mean, that's hard, why would they do that? So it's evolving our feelings about people and what happens to them and stuff. So we're gaining empathy and compassion through this huge experience that's happening for mankind. And then people are starting to wake up to their purpose. What am I doing here as a soul? Why am I here? And so that's to gain perspective over what being alive is. And then the gift of life, the gift of feeling what it is to be alive and to experience what there is out there to experience. So that, to me, is going to be a big part of the world where we evolve into. It's way more of a connected experience through, I don't know, if you love and compassion and empathy and being present. But it's not just going to turn into this world of, spiritual gurus when we all just sit around praying all the time and holding hands and stuff. No, it's going to be, that's why there's going to be so much to experience. There's going to be so much more fun. There's going to be so much more creativity, because we're going into a time like that where it's this, it's like the golden age of creativity, of experience, of opportunities and stuff. But it's not going to be the same kind of opportunistic, like, well, if nobody's watching, I can fuck them over, and I can steal this, and I can take that. See, we're not going to be doing that anymore. That's being purged out. And so the part of humanity that is ready for this other wave of existence. But it's work still. It's work to heal yourself. It's work to take care of yourself. It's work to break free from the programming. So it is there's also like a prize at the end, because then everything that you've done gets you to this place where you get to experience what it is that once you've done the work. And there's so many people who are so resistant to doing the work, and then they just want to jump into their best timeline. It's like, to me, like I said, it's like they're going to keep themselves looping, because even if you're low vibration, you've got all sorts of fuckery, things you've not dealt with, you've done some shit, then you just want to jump into your best timeline. Well, all that follows you. So your best timeline becomes your bad timeline again. So you just loop back in, because you carry all the baggage. And so you got to figure out how to let go of the baggage. Well, it's going to follow you. That's just the universal law. It's going with you where you go, until you go in and you start acknowledging it, unpacking the bags, until you start redeeming yourself and healing yourself and doing things differently. So I don't know. It's just weird because there's so much misleading stuff in this spiritual community. They just tell people wrong, but it's like that they don't know. They don't know. And that's a part of also the experience of this evolution of man too, is for people to see the bad part of like listening to the wrong people, not doing the work, not because even on the spiritual sense of things, it's like they don't go in and study spirituality. You know, they think they go get a handful of crystals, they go bathe in the blood of Christ, go fucking talk to ISIS for a while, and they've done it all. They go buy the t-shirt, they put some fucking shit on their third eye, and they're set. It's like there's way more to it than that. Like, and and I don't know, they go talk to God himself. It's like, okay, so you created a God to talk to? Because what God are you talking to? Like, there's been lots of gods throughout time. And so, anyways, see, I can just go on these rants. I can just rant and rave about this stuff, but it's so annoying to me that, because there's things to go out and try and understand, you know, what are you doing here? How did you get here? Why are you here? What are you doing? And that to me is your growth in spirituality. It is totally about this walking the path to enlightenment. It's like you turning the lights on for yourself and you beginning to understand yourself and what you're doing here. And I don't know. I mean, you got these spiritual leaders, you know, God himself chose me, put me down here and talks to me and tells me what to do and stuff. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. But to me, like I've found truth looking into stuff about reincarnation, looking into things like the near-death experiences. You know, you keep having these same stories over and over and over. Then I think you can be like, okay, so when you die, you're going to go to this life review. You're going to go to this certain place. You're going to have to look at all the things you've done. And I don't know. I don't know. There's just so many different things to grow. And, you know, what they focus on, well, you just jump timelines. You just manifest your best life and stuff. It's like manifesting your best life is a journey. It's not just like, well, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm just going to picture myself in my new life, and I'm going to wake up in my new life. I don't know. It's like a fantasy. Same thing of like, you know, God has plucked you out of all the souls and told you you're the best. You're going to go and do this. It's all just weird to me. It's like a bunch of nonsense. It's like, I don't know, whoever can come up with the most wacky story wins or something. It's like, go and try and really understand it. Read about other religions. Read about what other people think. Read about what the prophets have said. Read about what the ancient tribes have said. Like, open your mind to, you know, a lot of things. Like the pyramids in Egypt. There's pyramids all over the place too. There's all sorts of things. Like, I don't know, just open your mind to the giants, to the world that is different than what you believe it to be. I don't know. I don't know, because it all seems so simple to me, but I don't know how people just seem so lost. But I know that people are here to play roles to make this much more impactful for the people who are going in certain directions. So, but it's not a role like, well, they're a martyr. They just played the role and they held themselves back. No, it's part of their soul's journey. It's a part of their soul's learning. It's not like that they were really ready for the other. Otherwise, they would be there. So, but I also think that there's souls who are going to be leaving and that they can come there because it is like another realm in the heavens, in a higher vibration place. So there is lots of souls that will end up coming there. And so in there is going to be a long time. It's not going to just go away. It's not like, I think it's going to it's like it's going to stay there for a long time. Like where this has had these little windows of time, this is going to be a lot, this is going to be a long, it's not going to be like, oh, it's, you know, this, and then it's going to end. And but the windows are like, we're going to be able to go and look out all the windows at once, so we can go into all these different realities in different windows of seeing, experiencing. And here in this is like the slowed down, and so each window of experience is separate, but we go into each one so that we can experience ourselves in every opportunity of experience. If that makes sense. It makes sense to me, but I don't know if I'm explaining it good. So, but that's the way I see it. And so, I don't know. I still say, you know, the best thing you can do is work on yourself no matter what, and be honest with yourself and try and find your true self. Like, so many people are just lost. They don't even know who they really are. They just pretend to be this, pretend to be that, and that's who they think they are. They think, you know, well, I want people to like me, so I'm going to do this. I want people to think I'm a good person, so I'm going to do this. It's like, yeah, but what if you don't do that? You know, I mean, why do you have to do all this stuff to please somebody else to be a good person? So, I don't know. It's like I can see the complexity, but it also is simple. It's just like, it's just a journey. Like, I don't know. Just, the world's a mess. That's what I gotta say about it. The world's a fucking mess. But it's gonna get cleaned up. It's gonna get cleaned up through separation. That's the thing. Is like, we need to be unified, but it's gonna separate from who. It's like you're gonna go with your vibration. So, you know, it just depends on where you're vibrating, what you vibrate as, and what you're ready for. You can't go to some place you're not ready for. You can't be somewhere that you're not in alignment with it. You can't force a vibration. You have to become the vibration. You have to raise yourself into the vibration. And you can't do it just by, you know, thinking it. You have to experience it. So, I don't know. Just people out there just telling people the wrong thing. It's like, well, then what the hell are you doing here? Why haven't you jumped out? Why aren't you in your best timeline then? You're still here telling us the same damn thing? It's like right there. Just question, like, how are they still here? Why aren't they just over somewhere in their best timeline? Why are they still here going through all this shit with us? So, because you're going through all this shit because it's your opportunity to clean up the shit. And when you can't clean up the shit, then you just stay back in the shit. So, but it's not like it's real shit. It's just lessons and stuff. But, you know, as we're breaking free from it, it does feel like, God dang, there's a lot of shit. So, anyways, I don't know. That's my opinion about it. So, I don't know if I think it's getting better. I don't know. It hasn't been a week without new toothpaste, so I don't know. I mean, the hair thing, it's like, fucking hell, man. Seems like it should be growing way faster to me. I'm always paying attention to it with all these other things. So now it's pumpkin seed with the DHT blocker or something, because your hair can be falling out because your DHT is too high, so you need a blocker so it doesn't keep something like that. And then there's another one, pumpkin seeds with saw palmetto. That can be. It's just like endless of the different things you can try. But I don't know. I don't think it's shedding as bad as it was with that. The Dr. Groot's first, this is the first shampoo where I have thought, like, maybe it's not shedding as bad as it was. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not bald yet, so we'll see. There is like hairs growing. And there still is white hair, which I don't even know about that. I know that I have hair that start getting darker. So no matter what, hair start getting darker. Even if this is hair, maybe this is permanent. Maybe this will never change because I already drained all the minerals out of it, and now it's just drained. And it's just like, well, but at least it's not all my hair is drained. So it's just these little parts. I don't know. Fuck if I know. But if I go into, if we really gonna go into these med beds at some point, who knows if it's not until after the whole shift happens or whatever. I don't fucking know at this point. But there is stuff going on with the money thing still. I saw another thing saying about the money thing. I know things are changing. I know things are, you know, preparing for change. But the, what was I going to say? Oh, the med bed things. Like, if I get to go in the med bed, I'm definitely getting this ink pulled out of me because it's fucking toxic. I swear to God. It's weird because it's like I get these weird little sores and stuff in them. And so I know it's some kind of toxin allergy or something. I don't know if it's like the vibration changing is making, and if that's not even what makes our bodies feel weird, it's like this, it's one thing when it's low vibration, then vibration starts changing, and then it starts being like, well, this poison doesn't work, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Oh yeah, these videos I saw yesterday, one of them was a woman who was a nurse. I mean a doctor, but the video is pretty old, so I think she's from the 90s or something. She could have even been from the 70s. But this doctor had said that every single sickness was two causes: the parasites and the toxins. That's it. That's every single thing that goes wrong in you is those two things. I swear to God, I've been saying that for so fucking long. That you have got to, if you want to change your health, you got to cleanse yourself of the toxins, and you got to cleanse yourself of the parasites, because it depletes your immune system. Your body's fighting itself. It's fighting this endless battle, but once you start clearing and stuff and trying to rebuild the minerals and stuff that they've taken out of everything, it is like it's climbing a waterfall. It's like, man, they're just beating you down as you're still trying to get out of it. But when you keep going towards it, at some point it will get better. And then there was another one, and she was going to school to be an anesthesiologist or something, and she had a horrible story because they told her that she needed to go take this guy's organs. And so she's like, okay, well, she goes in the ICU, and she said he looks perfectly fine. She said he didn't seem dead at all. And so then the whatever, she was the student, and so whatever it's called, the person over was saying, well, what would you do then? And so she started saying, well, I would do fentanyl, this and that and stuff. And so then the teacher guy, he goes, well, what would you do for the consciousness? And she's like, the consciousness? Well, isn't is he dead? And so there could be things in this day that were like throwing her. And she kept thinking, oh, it's weird, it's weird. So she ends up, she still goes in, takes this guy's parts while he's alive. And then the whole thing is disturbing her. She's really disturbed by this whole thing, and she's questioning things. Then she was talking to her friend who was a mortician, not a mortician, the person who does the autopsies. Can't think of what they're called, an ME or whatever they are. So she, medical examiner. So she goes in and she's talking to one of them, and he said, well, I take out the hearts and lungs and all that stuff, and I don't need anything. They don't need any medication. So that's the difference, because they really are dead. They were making people go and take people who are alive and taking their parts, and that's just fact. Oh yeah, yesterday too, when I was there with the grooming thing, so she was talking a lot about her past, and talking about like when because she became a groomer when she was 13, and she's from California, and she and when she was working as a groomer, she was like, well, she had people, she said, that would come in every 6 weeks from Arizona, from Northern California. She had all these people who would come in to bring their dogs specifically to her. And So she was a groomer for a long time. Then one of the people who she groomed for, they wanted to steal her and have her become a manager of their new business, which was a plasma place. And I was like, what? And so I'm listening to all this story in the lab, and the lab was taking this plasma for tetanus or some kind of bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. It's the same all fucking bullshit. And so I'm just listening, and then I said, and then she started saying about, then she decided to go back to school to become an engineer, and she ended up being something with the water and water rights and stuff, and in Chino, in California, and which is a farm area. And so I said, well, were you an advocate for the corporation or for the people? And so that just started our new conversation. And so she started telling me a bunch of stuff about that. And then I said about the labs and I said, well, do you know what happened with those people with the plasma place? And she said, well, they had sold that one, probably made millions. And then they started another one because this fucking lab bullshit. So I was talking about how corrupt and stuff. And she said, yeah, there was this really weird thing that had happened. And she said that there was a guy and he had worked with, what was it? Oh, he was a vet, I think. And he had gotten RABIES, I guess. But he didn't get it or something. I don't remember the whole thing. But so he had this certain really specific blood that they wanted. They wanted that fucking blood. So, and this was in the 70s. And they would pay him $50 to come in twice a week. So he would drive this hour long, come in for $50. He would give them his specific stuff. And then he would sit there while they drained it out of him. Then he would leave, go home, and then twice a week he'd come in and do this. And so she said they still are using his stuff. And you know they charge so much money. So much money. And I don't know, like an antidote or what it is, but this is what the LABs just want, access to this stuff. And they use it for way more conniving shit. That function, it's all about the game. That's what they fucking, oh, well, what if we do this? What if we do that? And anything that we want or need, we're going to be paying billions of dollars for it. And where they're giving $50 to this guy. And she said there was another one that even got even weirder because it was the same thing and they wanted his. And that he lived like in fucking, I don't know, New Jersey or something. They would fly him in and then put him up in this big resort place to get his and then fly him back. It was like this whole thing. She said it was so weird and she felt sorry for the other guy because he wasn't getting shit. This guy was getting this whole thing. But, because it's all about the stuff that they want, because it's all about them, figuring out, they act like they're trying to figure out ways to help us, to save us. No, no, they're figuring out ways to do us in, and ways for them to use and survive. Like, I don't know, the thing is so upside down, it's so crazy. But anyways, so then we were talking about all sorts of stuff. She's like, oh, do you know who Juana Savin is and stuff? I was like, hell yeah. So anyways, but she's still coming at it from religion, but she does have a lot more open mind towards a lot of spiritual, like where she'll be like, well, the way things line up and stuff. So she can see stuff behind, but she's still like, there's lots of people who, religion is their spiritual outlet. That's what, and it's going to take a lot to break people from that program because it's still a program to control the mind. It's a program to control the spirit. It's a program to keep you, less than who you are, less than what you are, to keep you out of your divinity and keep you under control, keep you under wraps, to keep you small instead of big. So anyways, I thought that was interesting. It was interesting too because all those places are so corrupt. Water, I said, you know, all they want to do is steal all the resources from us. And she said the Chino farmers did something really good about getting the rights to the water. And so they had made some good moves there where the government couldn't take it. But Newsom, he'd just go in and just take whatever the fuck. I can't wait to see that guy go down. He's on his way. He's tumbling. He's fallen. So it's gonna be one after another, which I'm sure that's why the algorithm is so weird right now, is because there's people, like, there's stuff going on, and then it's like they don't want us to see, which TikTok now has put out their new community guidelines, or their new, I keep getting all these things, everything's putting out their new rules, everything. And but all these people who are going and reading it are saying, like, oh, now TikTok's about to change, and it's about to, you can't talk about anything, nothing. They will take down your video. They will not, you can't talk about anything. And so, see, all they want to do is just be a commercial, just make money off buying things, selling things, and just nonsense. Just go back to dancing videos and lip syncing and selling shit. And people now want more. So a lot of people are going to be shifting off of that and trying to go onto other platforms like YouTube and Rumble and Disclose and all these things. So there's going to be a lot of shift, a lot of new accounts coming in and changing, because as of September 1st, it's about to be this big change. But then also there's supposed to be this new version of TikTok that's going to be American. So I don't know. There's going to be a lot of changes in the media and stuff. So we'll just see how it all plays out. And he had signed those things the other day saying no more censorship. They're not allowed to do it. But see, and they just keep on doing it. But there's going to be things that are going to be changing. And then I think there's going to be lots of big class action lawsuits and shit, because it's against our rights. You can't tell us what we can talk about. You can't. And then they want to be like, well, you know, it's my platform. You have to be, it's different. It's like something about publishing and editing and stuff. You can't just go in and say, to use our platform, we get to decide what you say. That's still against our rights. So anyways, everything's going to just keep falling apart. It's just going to keep going kind of slow. But then all of a sudden, I think it's going to pick up. And then it's going to be like, oh, now I see why it was going slow, because it's going to fucking just be such a huge disruption. It's going to just spin people out. People are going to spin out soon. That's how I see it. So anyways, just remember what you're doing here. I'm telling you, you can't go wrong learning how to love yourself. It's fucking valuable as hell. So learn how to love yourself, learn how to love everybody else, and learn how to have the day you want to have, because it's up to you. So anyways, we'll talk about it again tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye.